Good morning. Or, okay, I guess it's... maybe it's still morning. I'm gonna try, I think, something fairly blue, something fairly dark, and hopefully something fairly interesting. But we'll see. Just gonna try to get some tree shapes in here. Maybe some Lombardy poplar-ish looking things. Or maybe it's cotton candy. Yeah, we'll see. Bit of a post there. This is going to be a distant shore on a lake. Well, obviously not the distant shore of a field. So, and we'll have, I'm not going to show much water there. That's our foreground. A bit more bush. Sitting in here maybe. Try to keep that a bit interesting. Okay, I want my window in here so that I can look through. So we'll border this by something, but you know, everybody's a different height. But there's still a rhythm. You know, there's still a pattern. Well, the rhythm would be tree. The rhythm would be tree. Pattern is going up and then back down again. Some bush here. Let a little bit of that lake poke through. Pretty simple. Okay, a bit of a far shore. And behind that, let's see, we're doing this quite a bit. I think we'll oppose it a little bit. Some distant hills there. And sort of bring a line or two indicating that we're sort of coming together here. I'm not sure if those distant hills are going to stay quite like that. I might raise that up a little bit, and this one, and yeah, that's better. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Don't know where my little rag is right now, so I'll just use a little bit of toilet paper, which after all is what it was originally intended and invented for. Okay, that's a bit scruffy. Yeah, I think that's going to be better. We're doing this. Okay, light source. It's pretty much all going to be from back there. Throw another little bush in there. Dare I go quite central? Certainly not dead center because I'm right over this opening as well. So maybe what we'll do is designate that. As a light source. Soften those lines a little bit. I'm not going to worry about those foreground lines actually yet. Okay, I think that's all the information I want on there right now. I'll turn you off and get back to you. So my plan is to paint another nocturne of sorts. There is a heavily blued palette that I just love. It's one of my favorite combinations of colors. Using a lot of ultramarine blue, a lot of cobalt blue. This palette on this one is going to be reminiscent of, I'm going to refer to a few other videos I did recently, well, probably about a month ago, maybe even 2 months ago. One of them is called Hillside Blues. I think another one's called Nocturne. But they're just different titles of different videos of the same painting. But I'm going to try to, I really liked how that one turned out a lot, so I'm going to try to go along the same lines with this one regarding the palette. I do not know yet if I'm going to be using the brush or the knife. I'm obviously going to use the brush right now. To establish my lines, and after that I'm not sure. We'll just have to see, I guess. See if the mood strikes me to do this or that. It's a smaller painting. With something this size, you know, if there is a fair bit of detail, I will tend to use a brush. But not always. So I'm, you know, putting my lines in again, just a little more accurately than my charcoal, but not by much at all. Really, not by much at all. Still not too worried about it. Okay, distant lake shore, hopefully that's reasonably straight. But it's not an architectural drawing, so no harm done if it's not perfect. Excuse me. You know, I might just make this a little bump here and indicate a ridge of, you know, sometimes showing a bit of shape of treetops there. The distant hill will be smooth, it's farther away. Okay, this is going to be quite dark, so I'm just going to wash in my, I'm just going to block in these foreground trees right now. I know it seems kind of funny that I've stained the whole canvas with ochres and a bit of burnt sienna, and now I'm just sort of covering it with the colors that I want to use, but you know, it's just how I operate. This is a very toothy canvas again, and I did not know what I wanted to do. So, you know, as soon as I brought the canvas home, I stained it. Often if I buy a bunch of canvases, I'll just stain the whole works of them. That way they're at least a little further along in the process of painting when I do decide to put one on the easel and paint it. And often with my technique, well, depending on the technique I'm using, there, a little catatonic moment there. The understaining will show through. Really depends entirely on what kind of what style I intend on making the painting with. And so I'll look at it. I'll pick the, you know, whichever color canvas I want, and I think, okay, you know, it'd be nice if I'm doing this subject matter to allow the staining to show through. So, you know, I'll go with this, or I'll go with one that I have stained green or purple or something. I probably by far use yellow ochre, ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, mixtures of those the most for staining. But in this case, as you can see, I'm actually making an underpainting on top of the stain. So, a bit of an exception there. You know, I might just consider that to be a bit of bush too. A bit of bush. Okay. Now we're going to go with a bit of cobalt blue. And I'm just going to go straight cobalt blue for the distant hills. That's pretty dark, and that's okay. I'm going to paint a nocturne, and it's going to be dark. With just a few rich highlights here and there. He says bravely. right? Now this far shore, a little closer to us, I'm going to go with cobalt blue and just a little bit of burnt sienna. Now, I don't even know if you'll see this on camera, but at first glance, it looks very dark again. But it's not quite as dark as the burnt sienna and ultramarine in the foreground. And it's a little bit greener than the cobalt blue. Just guidelines, that's all they are. But they're sure nice to have. Okay, that water, we'll use the same stain on because it is going to really mostly reflect the color of the trees behind it. Now, what shall I do here? I think I'm going to add, yeah, I'm going to dip back into my burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. You know, this is not necessarily a shape that will stay in the foreground. But I want my foreground, I'm going to add a little bit of alizarin crimson. We're going to go a little purple here. I want my foreground toned down. I'm going to add just a hint of raw umber. Not so much to color it as to help my washing in the foreground dry. Raw umber is wonderful for that. One of the quickest drying earth tones there are. Maybe it depends on the brand of paint that you buy, but I'm quite sure that that's pretty much across the board to be true. Okay. That can be found to be true pretty much across the board, no matter what brand of oil paint you buy. Now I'm just gonna use up my ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, because the order of the day here right now is dark. Not worried about the color. And it's funny, you know, right now it's wet, what I'm putting on, but in a few hours it'll be drying, and if I were just to stain it and then come back tomorrow and look at it, you would see much more variety of color than you do now. If I'm going to do this with the brush, then I'm not going to wash in my sky. I'm probably just going to start painting my sky with the brush right over top of this. So I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. Okay, I almost immediately felt that this canvas is so toothy that whether I use a brush or a knife, there's going to be too much sparkle showing through unless I work it into the canvas while I'm painting it. If I do that, I lose all looseness of my brush strokes. So I'm just going to stain the whole sky. And then play with it from there. I'm using, what is this now? Ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, raw umber, and just a hint of white. Just a bit of white. I'm going to add just a little more white as we get closer to the edge of these trees at the bottom here. Just a bit. Gotta be a little more interesting than that. Not a very good shape. Okay. There. The tint is gone. I have no blinding light in my face. And I am able to move from here. We'll see how the day goes. I'm going to stop the video there. I might give you... might publish again, and I think I'm going to go publish this pretty soon. I might publish later again today. We'll see. If not, then probably tomorrow as this one develops. And if I don't see you till tomorrow, here's the hand waving by. I don't want to put my face in there because that's just silly. Or revolting. Anyway, talk to you in a while.